All right, so I was just minding my own business, and I went to watch a video that YouTube told me to watch, and right at the very, very end, my friend Rhett said this.
We actually should make a 3D double pendulum so it can move in 3 dimensions for each one instead of being fixed in a plane. And
all right, well, if Rhett says so, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do this in Mathematica online. So I'm just going to pause for a little bit because it's going to take a little bit to load it up. Actually, I don't think it's going to take that long. I always do a Google search for it because I haven't bothered to bookmark it yet. And I think I have this through my work, but I'm not sure. So, well, I'm not sure whether the basic, which I think is free, is available to everyone or not. All right, so I'm going to make a new notebook. All right, so what we want to do is we want to make a double pendulum that's 3D. So basically we want to describe each of the pendulum masses is going to have a basically polar angles, a theta and a phi. And I think I might, just because I have the equations memorized, I'll just measure theta from the top, so vertically down, and then phi is around. So what I would want to do is say that x1, which is a function of time, is, I guess I need to define my lengths. So we'll do R1 equals, I don't know, 0.3, and R2 equals 0.2, whatever. And let's say mass 1 is 1 and mass 2 is 1. I don't really care. G is 9.8. That's fine. So x1 is a function of time, and that is going to be R1 times, let's see, actually, I think I want to do R instead of X. Well, we'll do it this way. So this will be R times the sine of theta 1 of t times the cosine of phi 1 of t. And then x2, I guess not, I'll also do y1 t is r1 times the sine, times the sine of theta 1 of t times the sine of phi of t 1 of t. Okay, so that works just fine. And then z1 of time is just r1 times the cosine of theta 1 of t. So that should work fine. And then x2 is going to be x1 plus, I'm just going to copy some things here. Copy. Actually, I'm just going to copy all of this. Copy. Paste. And then I just want to change that to a 2, that to a 2, and that to a 2. And then over here, I want to change this to a 2. All of these are going to be a 2, but then I just need to add here. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 2. That's a 2. And that's a 2. And then the thing is, they're all x1 of t plus and y1 of t plus and z1 of t plus. Okay. So now we have our positions, and now we can get our kinetic energy. So t is going to be 1/2, let's see, it's going to be m1 times x1 prime of t squared plus y1 prime of t squared plus z1 prime of t squared plus 1/2 m2 x2 prime of t squared plus y2 prime of t squared plus z2 prime of t squared. All right. So let's just not put a semicolon there and check out and make sure t is as ugly as we would have expected. Yep, okay, great. And then we'll say that the potential energy is just m1 g z1 of t plus m2 g z2 of t. All right, boom. Then we need to know what the Lagrangian is. That's t minus u. Cool. And then I'm just going to make a function that can calculate Euler Lagrange equation. So I'll call it EL. It takes a generic function x, and what's going to be is the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x minus the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x prime of t with an additional time derivative after that. and that'll be our Euler-Lagrange equation. So now I think we're ready to put it all in there. So the solution always gives you potentially multiple, but you always just want the first one. And the solve of, we want a lot of things. EL of, theta 1, EL of phi 1, EL of theta 2. Sorry, my kid's practicing trombone. Deal with it. Phi of 2. So that's all of the equations of motion. Then we need some initial conditions. Theta 1 of 0. Let's put it over here at 45 degrees. And let's say that theta 1 prime is at rest. And let's say that phi 1 at 0 is, let's also do 45 degrees. Why not? And phi 1 prime is 0. And then similarly for all the 2's, I'll just copy and I'll paste. And we need to think about what initial angles we want to do here. Let's just have this be, oh, you know what? We don't want 45 degrees. We probably want 135, because remember, theta is measured from the vertical, so we don't want it to be so high, I don't think. So let's have this be 145. Just, it'll have a little tiny 10-degree kink in it. So that's all the things we want to solve for. Then we want to tell it, or that's all of the equations and initial conditions. We want to solve for theta 1, phi 1, theta 2, and phi 2. My guess is this is not going to work that well. So let's go to a t from 0 to t max of, let's just go 1 second into the future, see if it even works. Now, this is the first time I've actually calculated something Mathematica here, so it's going to take a while. Cannot solve, consider this. And so this method is actually really smart. So what this is about, let me just type it in. That doesn't look like I can copy it. Comma, method, arrow, quote. Oops, didn't do my arrow right. Quote, equation simplification residual. So I believe what that does is it doesn't bother to solve for theta 1 double dot, theta 2 double dot, phi 1 double dot, and phi 2 double dot as their own thing on their own left-hand side. Basically does it time step by time step. Let's see if that fixes it. There we go. It's working. Okay. So I just realized that I set both of the phis to be boring. Let's have one of them be, I don't know, 45 degrees or something. Oops, not that one. Oh no, I did. Sorry, I did make them. Okay, so wow, weird. Okay, so we need to figure out what this is going to look like. So this is where using Mathematica Online doesn't work great. The manipulate function is just too slow. Boy, my video's not catching up to me. Sorry about that. So let's do some frames. Table. Let's see. Let's do show graphics 3D. Let's do point size 0.05. Let's do the lines first. Line, it's a single line, and we want to go from 0, 0, 0 to x1 of t, y1 of t, z1 of t. All of those have been defined. And then just continue the line to x2 of t, y2 of t, and z2 of t. I'm just going to do that and not bother drawing the points, see how it looks. We want a line from there, and I'm going to do slash dot sol, so it uses the solution we just did. And that's all I'm going to do. And I'm going to say plot range goes to R1 plus R2 so that we can for sure see it all the time. And then let's go from t, goes from 0 to t max in just 10 steps, just to see if it's working. Okay, so we should run that, should be super fast. And then we can use list animate, and it's not great. You're not going to be happy with it, but anyways, we'll see how it looks. There, you can tell it's slowing down. And this is where online kind of stinks. All right, it's moving. We just have to wait for them all to pre-calculate, and then it'll run smoother the second time through. All right. Yeah, so it's just kind of winging around. It's going to look much cooler if we add some points. probably be able to see some perspective a little bit better. So if we do that, we can come in here and say, comma, point. Let's do a point. Let's do a red one at point x1 of t, y1 of t, z1 of t. Let's see what I want to do. Slash dot sol. Boom. And then a comma. And then let me just copy that. Copy. And let's call the other one green. Comma, paste. And we'll just do this with 2's. And that should give us some nice points. So execute that. Re-execute this. And yeah, again, it's going to take forever. So cool. That's how to do this in Mathematica. Enjoy. Hope you guys have a good night.